Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at the Transformers The Last Night Wave 3 Voyager line. This is Nitro, or as he was referred to in the movie, Nitro Zeus. This is, I think, the last wave of figures from the Last Night line, and this is a very interesting figure. There's a lot of history to him. Basically being a clone of Shockwave, and a lot of people have said this is a very complicated figure. And I have to tell you, the first time I transformed him, yes, it was a little bit on the difficult side, difficult and involved. But the second time, going from robot to vehicle, having learned what I did from the first time, it was much easier, and I was able to do it without the instructions. So I'll point some things out along the way as we go from vehicle to robot that's good for you to know. Now, starting off the bat here, I just want to point out that the figure does come with these little missile pods, and they do peg quite nicely under the wings here and over there. Unfortunately, they do fit in very tightly, and pulling them out would end up disturbing the wings. So I figured just save the aggravation, and I already removed them before we started the review. There is also another feature that's quite nice to vehicle mode, and that is that the figure can actually hold a Titan Master in its vehicle mode. Come in here, open up the canopy, just get a good grip on it there. There we go. And probably better if I had nails. And if you look in, there, right where my finger is the tab we've come to know from other Titan Master vehicles and Titan's Return figures that can fit the heel of a Titan Master figure. So we'll just slide it right in, and you can close the canopy up, and it fits in perfectly. I think it's well known by now that Nitro's head comes off and it is compatible with other Titan Masters. But we'll show that in robot mode. So, yeah, well, that's about it for the vehicle mode. We'll get to transformation in just a moment. Okay, as I mentioned, transformation is a bit involved, and there are, I would say, at least 2, maybe 3 areas that you really need to pay attention to. And the first one is right here with the wings. The wings, unless you have everything lined up properly, do not peg in, but they are pegged in right now. So what we'll go ahead and do to start the transformation is just detach them and swing them back out of the way. Now the instructions show you to fold these up into the little backpack bits right now. I actually would say wait. Just because you'll have a little bit more room to finagle. And that is really like the main issue, because this thruster piece has a tendency to pop off while you're doing it. So just go ahead, pop the wings up, and get them out of the way. And also while you're here, come in underneath and fold up the landing gear. Now the next step, and I think, in my opinion, this is the biggest part that a lot of people tend to screw up, and it's the legs. Now the instructions aren't very clear. They show you that the feet tab in to these back sections here. What they really don't point out is that there's pegs right here on these sections where my fingers are, that are part of the chest, that the legs have to, there's little grooves on the legs that they have to slide under and click into place. And like with most Transformers, one goes in and out very easily, while the other requires a bit more force. Although on this time, they came out quite nicely. So just go ahead and detach those from pegging in from the back thruster and grooving in underneath the chest there. Let's see if I can show you. It's like, let me zoom in here and I can show you what I'm talking about. That section right there, there's like a little groove that comes in and connects to that leg. right basically in that area. So, you know, that's basically all that you really need to worry about. But once you've done that, go ahead and rotate the legs down. This one's basically done. This one you have a little more to do. You just want to, after you rotate it, it's on a double hinge and you want to bring that forward. Now what you also want to probably do is come back here and to the tail section, fold those down, fold that down, and come in underneath and attach it from that fin, and just basically swing this back. It will peg into the section there, but you don't want to do that just yet, just so you can have a little room to work, but just getting it out of the way. So once that's done, come into the top section here and just basically swivel out this whole section, rotate it around, flip out the fist, and bring down that shoulder pad. And right there you have the one arm done. Now, if you were like me and you were grabbing from the nose cone, you've already gone ahead and detached the nose cone from the front section there. But keeping this leg section flipped up, go ahead, bring the nose cone up and around that leg, bring it into place, close the shoulder pad, and rotate it forward. Then what you can go ahead and do is bring that leg back into place, sandwich the two legs together on the hinges, and they will peg into place. So basically, all that's left to do is to finish the legs, is rotate them forward, and flip up the feet. Just like so. So we'll just, so it's a little fiddly, I shouldn't say fiddly, but a little back heavy now, just trying to get the weight balanced. But once you do that, it'll allow me to bring the camera up ever so slightly so we can look at the top torso. And then what you want to do is come into the head here. Now, you want to rotate the head in on that panel, and then bring down that shoulder section, which, if you did the arms right, should just, you might have given them a little too much space, but you want to go ahead and clip it in. Now, the instructions show you flipping up this panel first, and then later on in the transformation, flipping out the head. I think to get the proper leverage to pop out that panel without removing the head, you really need to, before you flip out that main panel, come in here, hold it, and by putting your thumb there and holding on the machine gun and holding it in place to flip up that panel, and really do that before you fold out that main panel there. Coming down to the now, I think before we do the arm, we're going to do the backpack since we have a little space now. So go ahead, fold that down. That'll peg into place. Now the instructions show you folding in this tip first. What I suggest is just coming underneath the wings here, and they do hinge forward, so you do have a little bit of wiggle room. Folding up that section, and we'll just focus on the one arm now. And then what you want to do is fold up the vent, just like that. Fold in on that panel, and then you have to fold in again, and this is where it gets a little tricky, because you're supposed to lift up that vent so that it will hook into that tab, and there is a little give, but unfortunately you probably will just end up detaching the vent from its from the hinge. It's friction tabs, and then just go ahead and close that up. That last panel will peg into place. So just bring that down into position. It'll friction back in. Let's do it again on this side. Let's see if we can get it to work. Again, fold up that panel. Fold up the vent here. Go ahead, rotate. Begin to rotate that around. Try to gently bring it up. And, oh, I got it without popping it off. And then just bring that in. There you go. Hey, I got it. That's kind of cool. So, I think the final step is to actually finish off the arm. Now, I could have done the arm sooner. I just wanted to make sure I had the space. what you want to do is come in underneath the nose cone, and it does tab into place, so you want to split that open, bring it up and around, and then come in underneath here. It's a little tricky to get a grip, but there's these little black panels that you want to flip out, and then come back to the top and basically just close that up just like so. And then we come around to this arm, pull out the barrel for the machine gun, and then there's more. Take the little missile pods, and they will peg into the back of the vents right here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And as you see, the transformation really isn't that bad. It's just that you have like a lot of, it's an exact fit for a lot of these. And that, of course, in Transformers, doesn't always work out well. So let me adjust the camera a little so we can get a good look at Nitro Zeus. And yeah, there he is in robot mode. As I mentioned, the head is removable. It does feature a standard Titan Master connector, which means you can come in and attach any other heads. Unfortunately, they all do fit a little loose, as well as Nitro Zeus's original head. But yeah, so there you have him. Let me put the head back on. Now, it's interesting to note, as I mentioned at the beginning of the review, that Nitro Zeus was a clone of Shockwave. In the movie, the head is actually much closer to how Shockwave looked. And clearly this is not it. So I guess there must have been a change in design. Now for articulation, you do have outward arm movement. You can move these panels around to give you the movement you want. On this arm, with the giant machine gun, you do have the elbow bend and swivel. Now a lot of people think this is a melee weapon. I look at this as either a giant rail gun or like a robotic crossbow, but you have the same bend there. So let me just move the arms out of the way so we can get to the hips. Universal joint, bend at the knee, and you do have the swivel. And the knee pads can move. Unfortunately, there's no ankle articulation. And the head does, since it is a Titan Master connection point, you do have some waggle and stuff, but just be careful that you don't pop it out. So, yeah, we'll just pause, and I'll give you my final thoughts. One thing I almost forgot to show off is there is a little play feature where you can actually lift up the back of those thrusters, and they will to launch the missiles forward. I originally thought Nitro was a fiddly figure, and I wasn't going to enjoy it that much. But now, having transformed it back and forth quite a few times, I find that I really enjoy the figure, and I think I actually like it a lot more than Scorn. Yes, the transformation is fiddly, but once you do it once or twice, it actually gets into your hand, and especially when you know where the pieces are supposed to go and how they're supposed to line up, it does become a lot easier. The first time I transformed it, it was difficult. The second time from robot to vehicle, much easier. This was actually the third time going from vehicle to robot, which usually is the easier transformation. And I have to say, it really wasn't that bad. Parts weren't sticking like they were. I should also mention, as an aside, when I first got this figure, some of the joints were paint stuck, so that once they popped, it was very easy. But this should be hitting retail soon. I do believe they will be available at Big Bad Toy Store soon, if not right now. And, traditional brick and mortar. So, definitely worth a pickup, since it is, we are getting close to the end of the Last Night line. This is your old pal Chuck, for Nitro Zeus. We will see you next time.